Censorship.
Bro.
I just did
worried?
Chappelle's summer camp last year.
Yep.
And it was like,
Oh, you went to Ohio?
yeah, I mean, I know Dave since when I was in New York City, 93. I was like, whatever, 19. And there was Dave. Dave and I were doing early gigs. He was like fucking 11. Or I don't know how old he was. And so we were doing these early gigs together. And Dave was always a guy that I kind of put, Dave is in his own thing. Dave is not, Dave is Dave. And he's a transmitter in a lot of ways. And he was doing that then, and he does it now. He just, again, talk about like coming from his truth and coming from a place that's like it, don't like it, whatever. Like his unique perspective on things and the humanity that he tries to put into those things. It's really amazing, man. He's awesome.
Yeah. So
So wait, hold on.
No.
I just want to pin the censorship thing.
Yeah.
Real quick, because you went to Yellow Springs,
Yes.
Ohio,
Mhm.
to perform while Dave was doing his thing during COVID, right?
During the, whatever at the end. Yeah, last year.
I'm-
Not this summer, last summer.
So I'm curious how this worked because, like, I remember thinking at one point, like, what's Dave Chappelle doing?
Yeah.
And then he was gracious enough to invite me to a set of his and the premiere of the movie that he was making.
Right.
Then, and I remember thinking, oh my God, this motherfucker wasn't not doing anything. He was doing something that had never been done before.
course,
He
yeah.
was putting on shows in his backyard in Yellow Springs,
cornfield.
Ohio, in a cornfield.
Completely trashed.
Hammered.
Amazing.
No, but the film was amazing.
Yeah.
Was your experience out there like? Did it feel revitalizing to once again perform again in front of a crowd? Because COVID killed everything, especially for comedians.
It did. It also felt like, in Dave and everybody said like, this is going to be really unique what you're, and I kind of was like, okay, I get it. But then you get down there and it really felt like being at camp or something. It was what he set up down there and the shows he was putting on. I don't think I'll ever experience anything like it. Even if I do it again, that first time of being there and being a part of that. But sharing the stage with Dave, who, dude, check this out. I'm doing early gigs with, I'll make this, it's a long story, very quick. We're doing college gigs together, like we're kids. And we used to go back to back. Back then, I'm naturally energetic. I get fucking excited when I'm on stage. But back then, I was like Tasmanian devil. Like I would do anything for a laugh. And so I'd go out there and I'd fucking massacre. I'd just be out there just like sweating. And then Dave would go out, and Dave was Dave. Dave was kind of like, he'd go out there, he'd go, man, someone said to me, Chappelle. And he'd pause. And then he'd think for a little bit. And then all of a sudden, he's killing. And we're backstage, and I said, Dave, I gotta know, man, how, I'm still learning. I feel like I'm still, I have so much to learn. How are you doing this? Sometimes you're following me, and instantly you're just getting him and killing. And Dave Chappelle, as a kid, looked at me and he went, the power's in the silence, man. The power's in the silence. He was just, he's Dave. He operates on a whole different mentality and level, and that's why he's the GOAT.
I love that sentence though. There's so much power. If you can get comfortable with silence.
Yeah.
Jeff, my manager, sitting over there, he taught me. So what is it? It's if someone asks you, anyone can ask you a question, but that doesn't mean you have to answer, right? And especially when you're doing any sort of press, any interviews, anything, if you can get comfortable just chilling,
Right.
massive impact in that.
True.
Are you worried, on his point, about things you're saying? Are you worried about being canceled? Censorship now, and especially for comedians, is becoming more and more prominent.
No, because I think that it's incumbent upon anybody performing stand-up comedy today you want to keep your integrity, but you also want to do one thing. Observe and report from your experience. If it happened to you, if it happened from you, you can talk about it. Anything. But if you're trying to tell somebody else's story through your eyes, that era of stand-up comedy is over. And it actually should, because it's pretty ignorant. Nobody should be speaking on somebody else's story for the sake of getting laughs off it. I've done that. I'm a storyteller. Even all the way back to Vicious Circle, like when I did the crying bit, it's to this day the bit that I can't go a day without somebody writing me about it, because when somebody has a bad day and they're crying, they go, dude, I started laughing. My mom was dying of cancer when I wrote that bit. My mom couldn't be at the best show I ever did in Boston. And that night when I performed that bit, my mom was in Florida, in Delray Beach. She couldn't make it to Boston. So I gave that bit everything I had both because I knew it was funny around it, but like how I was really feeling. I was really missing my mom that night. Got on a flight the next morning, brought it down, and got to show her this is what that moment meant to me. And so to be able to observe and report what you experience, you can do say whatever the fuck you want. Don't let anybody ever put any boundaries at all on that. And if they try to, it's just them, man. It's just people's experience, and projecting what other people think of you has nothing to do with you. So you get up there and you observe and report from your own personal experience, and then you won't worry about being canceled or censored. Still, people might not like what you have to say and think it's garbage, but you're never going to worry. You're going to sleep very well at night knowing like I'm doing what I know is my life. I'm talking about my life.
It's Logic said
I was just gonna say
the same thing yesterday.
literally the exact same thing. We had Logic, the hip rapper, on yesterday, and he was using a word that someone called him, and I said, "Are you worried about using that word?" And he's like, "Dude, they called me this. Like, I'm simply reporting what happened.
Right.
I'm not making a story of it. I'm not using it as a slur. I'm just saying what happened."
Right.
And so
There's always going to be, listen, there's going to be vernacular, jargon. There's going to be things that you say. There's always going to be something that people are going to find fault with. It's once you're a known comic, once you're known anything, then you have just opened yourself up to a realm of people there's more people that are not going to be into what you do.
Yeah.
They just are going to be having to hear from their friends or whoever, like, I'm into this person. And then now you've got sometimes, two people that like you, or one person's like, I'm not into it. So yeah, you're always going to come in and out of favor, I guess. But as long as your integrity's intact, then unless you're like a political comic and you're like, I want to get out there and make statements about, then you got to expect that, your job is to
be critiqued.
Yeah. I might be, what is that called? Like, criticized about, some of my statements. But if that's the kind of comic you want to be, then like, all right, I lose half the audience, I gain a new audience, that, otherwise just do your thing from your heart, man.